Countdown. Okay, there we go. We're live for our May allocation booster club meeting. I have a couple of coaches, Joe Ireland joining us, and oh my gosh, I've spaced. Jason, but your last name is a little hard for me to say. So can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Absolutely, yes. Hi, I'm Jason Wiederspan. I'm new. I'm now the slow pitch head varsity coach for in the fall at Lewis and Clark.
Awesome. And then Joe, will you introduce yourself? Because you're a new face, not new, but new in your role. So would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, my name's Joe Ireland, and I just completed my first season as the head football coach at Lewis and Clark.
Fantastic. And you guys have allocation requests tonight, and we will get to that shortly. So first I wanted to, I got all sorts of noises on my computer. I just want to welcome everybody for joining us. We are streaming live on Facebook. I have board people in the conference room, and so we're going to try and be as quiet as possible because this is the worst room ever for acoustics. I'm going to pass my computer around so that everybody who's in the room, when it's time for them to give their report, they'll have the camera in their face. First up, we're going to do my president report, which is really just to give you a purpose and overview of Booster Club, which Booster Club really just supports the needs of different clubs and athletics and groups at Lewis and Clark High School. So we do fundraisers throughout the year. We have a concession stand that raises funds. We also have, we sell spirit gear, and we now have a Square store which generates funds so that we can review allocation requests that teams and clubs need in order to, because the budget for athletics and extracurricular activities is not nearly enough. And so the Booster Club helps to fill in those gaps. And so tonight is one of our 4 allocation meetings a year. We had one in December, but we didn't have a February or, March,
I think it was supposed to be.
Oh, yeah, it was supposed to be March. So we didn't have any allocation requests. We are now doing this meeting, which is a May allocation meeting. I'm going to go ahead and that's pretty much my president introduction. Who can be a Booster Club member? The answer is anyone can be a Booster Club member if you have a student or if you're an alum or you're a coach. Anyone can be in the Booster Club and have a vote and a say in terms of how we spend our allocation dollars. We do fundraisers, and we have normally, when it's a non-COVID year, we have a lot of fundraising events and just volunteer opportunities. And we do a choice dollar system so that if you choose to volunteer your time as a parent, or if you have your students volunteer their time at a fundraising event or in our concession stand, you can earn choice dollars that you can then allocate to your team or club of choice. So we will talk a little bit. We potentially have some open positions. We need to kind of firm that up. Technically speaking, I have said this before, my term as president is essentially concluded. I'm willing to stay on for more time if there's no one that wants to take over that position. So I'm willing to do that, but we will be giving you guys an update probably in our newsletter if there's any open positions. But we're always looking for volunteers, and I am hopeful that next year when we start in September, it may be somewhat normal, and we will be able to do concessions and at the very least have our auction. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this over to our secretary so that she can read our minutes from last meeting, which would have been February 8th.
Yeah, it's been since February that we last met. So I feel in reading the minutes, that's going to be maybe some a little bit outdated maybe material, but at any rate, on February 8th, we last met, and we just reiterated to everyone present that if any club is interested in learning the balance of their choice dollar account, that they email Chanda here for that information. The treasurer report, Candy reported transactions that had occurred during that month, and also reported that the balance of our account at that time was approximately $45,000. The income streams for that period of time were from our Square store, and I think that was the only income at the time, but our expenses included taxes, food permit, allocation made to InvestEd, and allocation made to support the levy initiative. And then our athletic director report in February just shared updates for sports seasons 1 and 2, and some specific operational information of how to, have sports in COVID, and also reported that GSL cards were required this year and $30 each. Some old business was that the Spokane schools fully funded the robotics allocation request, so the boosters did not need to fund that allocation request. And there was discussion with the senior all-nighter and a Valentine's Day fundraiser that they had started at the time, that no requests for allocations at that time. And then the new business was the LC collectibles, I guess we're calling them.
I call them
Vintage LC vintage gear, like doorknobs and things, are available for purchase on the LC Square store site. So if you haven't checked that out. And then some general announcements was that we, our next allocation was going to be in March. And then the final allocation meeting of the 2020-2021 academic year is in May, which is tonight. And that is all from our February meeting.
Thank you. So the way that it works in world of live streaming and Booster, where we're live streaming, I can, if you were watching via Facebook or via YouTube, we can actually see your comments, and I can even display them on the screen so everyone can see. So I'm going to ask that someone make a motion to approve our February minutes as read. If you have any additions or changes, just if you put that in the comment section, either in YouTube or on Facebook, and then at the end of the meeting, before we adjourn, I will circle back and see if there's any comments pertaining to corrections. I doubt that there's probably going to be any, but we're going to let that out there and let it marinate for a little bit, just in case. You never know. Somebody may have something. So at the end, we'll go ahead and have someone make a motion to approve those minutes. But in the meantime, we are going to move on to our vice president report. And this section is going to be going over those, some of the financial numbers that we were talking about that we'll need in order to be able to talk about tonight's allocation meetings. But as promised, I'm pulling this up so Chanda can, oops, you see these little buttons. I just got a Mac. That was it, wasn't it? Okay, so I guess I have to hit this green button to make it go up. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so, and what I have learned, I have to share my screen on, sorry, everybody, technical difficulties. While I'm learning, I'm still not that awesome. Good Lord, what is all these things? Later. Do I have to do these things? Can't I just share my screen? Okay, is it sharing? Can you guys see what my screen looks like?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys can see it? Okay. Here's the thing, guys. You guys can't see it?
Yeah, you can see it.
Oh, okay.
You just need to flip the thing back up.
Yeah. No, I'm going to. There we go. Ba-bam. Are you guys all seeing it? Are you seeing the VP report? No? No VP? Oh, yeah, it is. I'm going to guess everybody's seeing the VP report. So just, you go for it. You just go for it. Yeah. Shanda, you just go for it. Okay. So that way you have the camera in your face. You'll just have to trust the process.
Okay, perfect. So basically, a couple of years ago, it was decided that in order to provide everyone with monies for their time, we did a volunteer process that allowed you to earn money as a volunteer in the Booster Club. And for serving on the board, that was one of the ways that you could earn money for your designated team or club within LC. So all of us as board members this year have earned monies towards our chosen clubs at a reduced rate because it's been a COVID year. And so the entire system was just kind of down. We didn't have all the fundraisers that we normally have. And we didn't have all of the choice dollars earned that we normally do because we also didn't have any concessions happening at all this year. So if you see this paper on here, you can see the first and second semester, we had no concessions. due to COVID-19. And so the incomes were 0, 0, and 0. And then the total committee choice dollars that were earned for everyone on the committees was $1,300. So in December, we did have requests for $310, and those were allocated. The total choice dollars that are available that have been earned previously at this time are $13,456.37. And as of today, the funds that are requested that are not choice dollars are $9,158.83.
You gotta use 2 fingers. Can you put 2 fingers on the
Like
pen?
this?
Yeah.
I have no idea how to.
See,
Just
you're making
'cause
me feel
you
so
can
much better about
Oh,
my
look
life.
at you. So I don't really need that part because we're going to do that when they request, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so
this
this part.
is, yeah.
Okay.
So you look at me all being all.
You are, wow, look
I
at
know,
you.
I-
Now that's too small. Oh, good.
Somebody take a picture so that.
Okay. So this table is actually all of the club and team totals of choice dollars that have been earned from the last 2 years. And so the committees that were earned this past year in 2021, you can see we each got $100 or $150 for our committee. And then, we did allocate some funds to cheer in December. And as of right now, that last column there is the total amount of funds that are available for each group, whether it's a club or a sport. That's their total funds that are available for them to request. Yes.
That's another thing we should have the parent reps do, is give this information to parent reps and have them tell
Yes.
their coaches that this is available. Because I'm thinking,
I don't think they know.
has 0 clue about that.
Yes.
He does know about that. He
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He told me for
You might be
building
surprised.
project.
Oh.
You might be surprised how
The
much
press
these
box or
groups
just
know.
the announcer stand?
Okay, so these are the funds that are currently available. And these aren't the only funds that are available for these clubs and for the sporting teams, but these are funds that are available that don't have to be approved by the Booster Club board in order for them to get the monies. They only have to have what they're funding approved by the athletic director and the school. Is that correct, Dave? Am I right?
The board still reviews it and makes sure that it meets the criteria and is allowed by the school.
Right, but as long as it's allowed by the school,
And as
it's
long as
just
the school has no objection and the funds are there, then they don't have to go through the normal Booster Club allocation.
Right.
Vote of the entire body. But the exec committee just has to review it to make sure, number one, there's enough money. And then number two, that it is appropriate for the school.
right.
Because, you can, I'm sure there's lots of things that clubs would necessarily like to have, but it may not necessarily work within the parameters of the building or logistics,
So do you think
Correct.
that we would be able to extend those expiration dates given COVID?
I think so.
I think we will be able to do that.
I think that's very reasonable.
Those were
Well, some are already extended.
Given.
You see that? Why are some already extended to 20?
because they were earned.
They were just earned
Later.
this year.
Oh.
They were
oh,
earned
that was
later.
an
Expiration on them. What's the,
Why?
no, I just didn't know that. What's the term of the money? How long is it good for?
It's-
Yeah, it was 2 years.
2 years is the
2 years.
term
Okay.
from the time it's earned, and the purpose of that money.
It was
For
just
when the
trying
kids are
to
there.
get people to use it.
To
If
use
they're
their-
earning it,
Gotcha.
they're-
Okay,
Yeah,
that makes
because
sense.
within
I
2
just
years,
didn't
you
know it.
would expect that, within 2 years, it's reasonable for them to use the funds. But to sit there and hold on to it for, eons it's just, we want to make sure that those
It's
funds are
sale.
actually
You gotta
being
use them.
used for. the
And some
students and the clubs.
Some groups and clubs do use it really quickly, and they go through a lot of, they just require a lot more funds to keep going than others do. So, I mean, it's
kind of
not technically-
ASB, but ASB is,
I called it rubber chicken because that's what they always use it for, but it's actually ASB.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's technically ASB, but when people say, what are we funding for ASB?
Next year,
Right.
we're gonna have amazing props at Rubber Chicken. You're gonna be just changing clothes
So I
every
think
5
I'm-
minutes.
Okay. Please take that away.
So
Can't wait.
that just gives you a little bit of background on that. If you were not familiar with Okay. Oh, we're back. Yay. Sorry. We went black there for a minute. So that's what happens when you move too fast for the internet, I guess. So moral of the story. Let's see. Moral of the story is that if you are a coach of or coordinator of a team or a club, you are welcome to email Chanda at any time, and this is her email address, so that you can get an update on your choice dollar balance. Now, I'm going to just make a little plug right now and say that if you are a coach or an administrator that's like overseeing a club, this can be a really good opportunity for you to earn funds through volunteering and coordinating additional volunteers for different volunteer opportunities, like whether it's the Booster Club concession stand or if it's an auction, different things like that. So we have had, before COVID, we have had some clubs that have been very strategic about volunteering a lot because they wanted funds set aside and didn't have to go through the whole rigmarole of having the entire Booster Club body approve their allocation requests. And so again, the process for that is if you have funds sitting there, then you have to still put in the allocation request. We still look at it as an exec board, and our athletic director takes a look at it just to make sure that it fits within the parameter of the school and what we can put under the roof, so to speak. But it is very liberating to know that you have certain funds there that you can use as you want. And wrestling was a good example of that. Just recently, they ordered a bunch of items, and Sheer has done the same thing. And wrestling had thousands of dollars. And so that was really nice. They just had to submit the paperwork and it was done. So that's just a little sidebar. So with that, I think now we're going to move on to our treasurer's report. And then, just because I want to make sure we give all the financial information to everybody. So we're going to have our treasurer give her report, and then we will start looking at the allocation requests. So that way we can get Joe and Jason wrapped up so that you're not bored to tears with our circus that we tend to have while we're trying to navigate technology. So we're trying so hard.
Hello, everyone. This is Candy Castile, I'm the treasurer, and I'll make this quick. You probably can't see that. I'll just get it on the record. It's on the record. There we go. So you can take a photo of that. Yep, there you go. You saw it. So since our last meeting in February, we have actually, that Square store is freaking awesome. Yeah, it's great. And then I also picked up a lot of cash and checks from the book room. And so I'll just do some quick in my head math actually for March and April. $2,600, something like that from those two sources. So awesome. And I think that's all gear. I haven't seen anything from vintage.
No, because we're still working.
Because we're still working. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to, I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. And so, from a budget standpoint, because of the COVID year for allocations, and we knew that we weren't going to be able to fundraise a lot, but we did budget $20,000 for allocations. And so far we have allocated a little over 2,300. So just from a budget standpoint, we have plenty of room for tonight's allocations if we choose to approve all those. And for our checking account balance, as of the end of April, we are at 47,000 and change. So
What do we like, because I'm new, how much do we like to go into the next year with? What's the bottom line?
well, I would
Have a
say,
lot of
yeah, great
information?
question. I don't know the answer to that. I do know that we're
Because it's been
dipping
so
this year
non-volatile.
because we're not fundraising nearly as much.
Right.
So let's see, if I looked, I might be able to answer your question of what we came into this year with.
So in September, we will have to come up with our next
Our
budget, our
Mhm.
budget for the current year, and it will be considerably less because we did
months we didn't pay anything in.
Well, we brought in $2,600 from our Square store.
Just in 2 months.
in 2 months. And
And I think all of it's
so.
vintage, we're gonna bring in another 2,600.
Yes, so to answer that question, is in September, we will have a budget review, where we have to decide decide as a board how much, looking at our finances and what our projected costs will be for various other things. We have some licenses and some other things that we have, that we're obligated for. So once we have those numbers, and then we know kind of what our nut is, then we can decide what we will allocate for allocations for the entire school year for next year. With that being said, we're hoping to be able to have an auction so that we can, but until we have that auction, it will be difficult we have to do a lot of projections. So.
But even with that being said, the auction that we had last year was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So trying to base something
Yeah,
on that being what we're gonna bring in at the auction, I think might be,
We need to
just-
look at
That would be a
all the
high
years.
bar.
yeah, that would be a very
It
high
was
bar,
like
I
60
think.
grand or something.
Well,
That
It was
brought in an
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Are you all done?
So great.
I hope so.
Okay, I think you are.
Thank you,
I mean, it seemed like it was pretty comprehensive. So, all right, with that, the fun begins. Now it is allocation time. So I might be able to follow this up. All right, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to attempt to share my screen once again. This time I'm going to pull up what we're going to be looking at. Here, I think I did this correctly. Can everybody see that? This is the Booster Club request that we have received so far. So at the top of the list, the first one to have turned in their allocation request is Joe Ireland. So the request, and actually this is a little, the request was actually, Joe, I'm going to put you up here on the screen so I'm going to
Sure.
stop sharing my screen, and then I'm going to put you up on the screen because when you submitted your request, you were submitting a request for the jerseys because we're kind of on a cycle, and Dave can talk to this too, but we're on a cycle where we are trying to replace the jerseys for a lot of the different teams, kind of systematically so that we're not having to replace all of them at one time. So with that being said, I just want to clarify your request because actually this number, the $6,000 that we're looking at for the black varsity and JV jerseys is actually not the true cost of the jerseys. The cost for the jerseys to purchase was actually like $7,500 and some change. But you put down on your form that you were looking at a donation of $6,000 from the Booster Club to cover the majority of that. So am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We're the plan is to. I mean, I don't know. Is this the opportunity where you want me to tell you what my?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're gonna try and get 80 jerseys, and in the past we've done 60. What I would like to do is phase out having a junior varsity separate jersey. We've gotten to the point where we have about 12. Sometimes by the end of the year, close to 15 kids that what we call swing players, and so they end up having 4 different jerseys, and I think if we just purchased 20 more, then all of 10th through 12th graders get to have the exact same uniform, and there's nothing that separates them. Last year we were able to purchase all the pants, so now all 9th through 12th graders we have enough black pants for everybody, and so now my goal is to have 80 jerseys. The current black jerseys were last purchased, I believe, in 2015. Those will then become freshman jerseys, which those kids are wearing that were purchased, I believe, last in 2003. I was going to then use some of my football budget to pay the remainder of the balance, and I also went ahead and I purchased to replace those same jersey numbers, meaning like the literal number on the jersey from our white jerseys. So that way I'll have a home and away 80 numbers for all of our 10 through 12th graders, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It does. I'm putting Dave on the spot here too. Our athletic director is in the house, although his title is Holly Goodman for the moment. I apologize.
That's good.
So
Mine
Jay,
usually says Jennifer Ireland.
You can't even say that I'm your wife either. It's just you're stuck next to me. I could fix it, but why?
It's fine.
Okay. So in terms of the jerseys, can you just explain a little bit? Because I didn't do a very
Yeah.
good job at explaining the rotation.
Well, the
so-
big thing is really we're phasing out a freshman set that was bought in 2003. So when you look at the whole thing, because they all push down. So basically, if you want to look at long-term use of those jerseys, well, the 2003 jerseys are going away. And so now the freshmen will wear a jersey that was, correct. The freshman will wear a jersey that was built in 2015, and we'll get a good 5. Again, with a football jersey, you're going to get 5 to 7 years out of a football jersey. So it's time to do this.
5 to
And
7, but we're retiring in 2003.
we are.
Well, we got a little behind, but that's
Delayed,
but
Everything
that's
gets a little
legitimate.
delayed. So
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah,
5 to 7 is the goal.
5 to 7 is the goal with pretty much every jersey that we have or every set of uniforms. Because you have to remember, they always are passed down.
Yeah.
So if the varsity gets
They
new,
start.
then the JV comes down, then the
Yeah.
freshmen come down. And this system's going to work well for us. I think it's a good system to try to do 80 for both JV and varsity. It's all the same then. So it's going to take out a couple of our headaches. So
Yeah.
I totally support it. So I think it's a good allocation.
So 5 to 7 years for varsity,
Well,
then
just
5 to 7 years JV,
so you would have theoretically a freshman uniform would be passed down
10 years already.
10 to, yeah, they're going to wear it for 15 years. And then you'd like to get rid of the
And that's
uniform
what
after
2002,
15.
then that kind of shows where
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
15-ish years.
Yep.
Time, it's time. Okay,
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Oh, I just have to say, I missed the comment because I was passing around the computer, but just for a record, Kirsten tells us the auction last year was freaking awesome. So thank you for that.
Yes, it
We
was.
appreciate that.
Yes,
We
agree.
appreciate that.
What
Okay.
color are the new ones gonna be? Do you say black?
Black.
Oh, black jersey.
Yeah, the new black.
Because
So,
our orange ones were purchased when?
No.
2019?
18.
2018?
18, yeah.
2018?
And
Okay.
the orange ones will only be varsity, so they'll last actually. Don't you think we'll get 10 to 12 to 14 years, Joe? Because really the orange ones you only wear a couple times.
Yeah, because you wear the whites when you're away, and then we have to choose between orange and black when we're the home team. So the reality is you only wear the orange maybe once, twice a year.
And then never white? anymore?
Yeah, white when you're
Not at
away.
Always, there's white, oh.
Yeah, we're gonna be away for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to move now. Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'm going to move to Jason next because you turned in an allocation request for slow pitch softball. I'm going to put it up real quick just so that my screen again, so people that are watching can see just for a second. So I'm going to just explain what the request is. So slow pitch softball is asking for cold weather team jackets and batting helmets with masks. And I understand that the batting helmets, do they have the same lifespan as just the helmets in general? Because, yeah, so helmets themselves have to have an expiration date. They can only be used for a certain number of years. So we automatically have to be cycling through some of the helmets to make sure that they are safe for the kids to be wearing. So then I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Look at me causing everybody to have a little bit of vertigo tonight. I apologize, but I just want to make sure we're getting everything on the record. And I have Jason. So Jason, can you give us a little bit of background on your cold weather team jackets? Is this something kind of what we were talking about with football, where we're trying to cycle through some old jerseys or jackets?
So no, not exactly. The program currently doesn't have anything that matches that. The option last year, and when I say I'm a first-year coach, so I started talking with some of the parent representatives and seeing what it is. And last year, the slow pitch program made a run into the playoffs. I mean, I think we all know Spokane weather, that it can be, especially going from transitioning from summer into fall and as the weather turns, those last 3 or 4 weeks can get pretty rough every once in a while, depending on if you get one of those spans. So last year, as the girls extended their season, and even the end of the regular season, the only option they had for anything that was warm weather outside of a personal sweatshirt was the optional team gear to purchase, like on the e-store through Momentum Inc. or BSN. So what happened is you had girls that were on a bench as we're traveling to playoff teams, games out of different leagues, different districts. that are showing up and they're wearing mismatched hoodies. The equity piece of there's a family that causes financial strife to kind of have pressure to purchase a team hoodie, maybe out of situation, but it's just a mismatch of girls rolling in just hoodies, which also aren't necessarily the warmest. So I thought of having a matching set, something that's more built to that kind of weather that we can have in the program, issue out to the girls as needed. We kind of transition that system or that season, and then recollect at the end of the year to be able to use for the years to follow.
Perfect. Now I'm gonna put good old Dave here on the spot. Dave, you have anything you want to add to that allocation request?
Yeah, so Tara Groves was our coach when we did a state run, and it did get, you're into November now, and they were just scrapping together whatever they could do to throw on their bodies. And so again, I totally think this is a legitimate request, and we need to have some cold weather gear for softball team, for slow pitch softball.
So did I understand correctly that a lot of the equipment, the gear that the girls did have, their families purchased using
Correct.
BSN? So not everyone had access to it. Oh, and you know how I feel about this. I don't like kids.
So if they didn't, if they didn't think they didn't have they found some sweatshirts, but this
or
is
if they
just
didn't have
going to
the
be,
means to be able to get
Sure.
some of that equipment.
it's a good thing. We need to do this. And then again, the helmets are, I think we'll just be in the booster club buying helmet business for softball and baseball for a bit of time.
Yep.
It's just one of those things that we got to keep doing.
For boys and girls?
But they
The
play.
face mask is different and that
So
head
yeah,
shape's a little
got two
different.
sets.
Yeah.
Spring and
Well, because the softball team a lot of times sometimes they'll use the same as fast pitch, and our helmets are actually we're getting close to having enough, but it's one of those things that are a constant renewable thing. So anyway, I support both these requests.
I'm a big believer in helmets. Helmets are important. So we want to make sure that they're not expired helmets and they have masks or tinted helmets. Yeah. So perfect. Now, with that being said, and then actually, this is a really good point. So Andrea tells us, and kids forgot to tell their parents, so some missed the ordering deadline. Andrea, yes, power to, yes, so true. The bane of my existence is finding, yes. Oh yeah, that was our high school pictures for this year. Didn't know about it, didn't send them to school prepared, and didn't order any. So gotta love them. Anyway, okay, perfect. So the only other request that we have is from the senior all-nighter. I'm going to share my screen once again and hope that I can successfully I feel like I'm getting better, everybody. So look at me go. Okay, transitions are going faster. So we have a request from the senior all-nighter. They have a 4-hour event, which includes food and prizes. Now, they're asking for $2,000, and I want to make sure that I am going on record and making some clarifications, because in all years past, and David's going to attest to this from the LC school perspective as well, but from a LC Booster Club perspective, Booster Club has never allocated or given funds to the senior all-nighter group for any classes, okay? And that is because there is a committee and they have their own nonprofit, and so they do their own fundraising throughout the year in order to raise the money that they need for senior all-nighter. Now, last year in 2020, things got a little hairy. So those parents that were on the 2020 Senior All-Nighter Committee raised funds and was able to do some fundraising and had funds set aside for Senior All-Nighter, but then they were not able to execute on the Senior All-Nighter event because of COVID restrictions. And Booster Club, being sympathetic to just a situation that was beyond anyone's control, LC Booster Club Exec Board approved an award of $1,000 that was given to Lewis and Clark High School. And then Lewis and Clark High School matched our $1,000, and we purchased senior all-nighters, like senior signs that were then put in the yards of all of our graduating seniors. So we paid $1,000 that was matched by LC School, and then they purchased the signs, and that's where the signs came from. So this year, senior all-nighter parents struggled because you can't. Yes, well, at first they didn't have a committee. They pulled a committee together and they were able to, they have gotten very creative and I'm very impressed. So I'm giving some major props to our senior all-nighter parents for 2021. They hustled their buns and have been doing fundraising virtually. Yeah, but it didn't really start going until February. So yes, with that being said, I'm hoping that there is a senior all-nighter parent because I was very clear that there needed to be a senior all-nighter parent be present. So if you are listening on Facebook and you're the designated senior all-night parent that is to be presenting, please give me your name in the chat. Identify yourself, please. But with that being said, I want to make sure that we are crystal clear on this. If the Booster Exec Board has agreed to look at this request because it is a unique year in that things are different. They weren't able to raise traditionally the normal amount that Senior All-Nighter Group would normally raise for an event for this many students. So we went ahead and said that we were open to reviewing a request. And so the request came in at $2,000. And so, oh good, Darlene. Darlene is going to be our senior all-nighter para-parent. Is that what it says? Parent. Got it. Okay. I'm trying to get my glasses so I can see. It's a little small. So Darlene, we have some questions because I will be honest. This is a big ask of Booster Club because it's a little bit of a slippery slope in that, we want to make sure that it's understood that last year and this year is a unique year. Uh-oh, Darlene's getting a little nervous because she says, what? Oh my gosh, no one else is here? I know. Believe me, I'm a little nervous for you guys too because there were some questions. So one of the questions that we have for our senior all-night committee is how much money have you raised? So can you in the chat tell us, Shelly, you're not alone. You're not alone. Darlene, you got Shelly here. You got a team. Good, perfect. So one of the questions that has come up is we want to know how much money the Senior All-Nighter Group for 2021 has raised. And then we would like to kind of know what is the cost of your total events so that we can understand how much. Now we know that you still have your auction that is currently going and I think it ends this weekend. Does it end? Yeah, it's live. So yes. Actually, which is another really good point, ladies, because I believe that your auction is still happening. So if it is still happening, put a link in the comment section so that we know and we can share it. But I need to know from Senior All-Nighter how much money you have raised so far, how much you expect to be raising from your fundraiser, and then what you guys are short for your projected costs. Okay, and she says, I don't have total. Our biggest potential fundraiser is the auction, and it is currently live. Okay, and so then can you tell us what are you projecting to? $10,000. $10,000 on the auction. Okay, so if you. Nobody else see this? Well, I saw it, but I haven't looked today. Yeah. So, and that I was hoping that we're going to have senior all-nighter parents that would be able to answer these questions. So. We haven't had a link for that to post on Facebook yet. Oh, that's a big bummer. Oh, Kirsten, I'm sorry. Kirsten, who is our social media chair. I'm sorry, let me just clarify. Kirsten is our social media chair, and we have not been provided a link so that we can share your auction on Facebook. So that's all the more reason if we can get. Okay, so I am seeing from Darlene that the goal from the online auction is to raise $10,000. So can one of you guys tell me then how much short are you guys going to be $2,000 short? As
if you get 10,000, will that be enough?
If you raise the 10,000 through the auction, will you have enough? Yes, that's if somebody. I don't have Darlene's number. Oh yeah, call Darlene. Darlene, guess what? Josie's calling you so that we can speed up the process. We got another one. Darlene says the link to the auction is in News You Can Use, so we'll try and pull that out.
Yeah, because I was reading through our board.
Hi, Darlene.
Our board.
115.
So you're on speaker.
Our board guidelines.
Okay, so we're all here listening to you.
Okay, so we're selling tickets for 25, hoping to help Boo because that's our most unknown budget, not knowing how many kids are going to participate. So we're kind of tying that to the ticket price. The $10,000 for the auction, or hopefully from the auction, should cover our $10,000 worth of the rentals. We have to spread out over like the entire building because of distancing. So
Sure.
we can't, all the kids can't be together. We can't do it the same way in other years.
Sure.
And so we're renting, usually a senior all-nighter rental is about $7,500, but we have to space people out. And so we're renting more stuff. That cost went up by 25%.
And where is the location?
It's at the field house and the commons. So we're spread from one end of the school to the other.
So you guys actually have to pay to actually have, so what are the costs associated then with the venue?
No, nothing.
The building
This
doesn't
is all
cost.
the
It's the
jumping
rental
casino.
of all of the things to do.
Okay, the
Like
activities.
casino, all the different interactive.
So you're just
games,
trying to
stuff.
make more of the interactive games, like make more sites, since you have to space out over the course of more geographical areas. So instead of having like one casino or 3 casino tables, you're going to try and have 6 because you have to fill up more space to spread everybody out.
Yes, yeah, that would be a reasonable thing to say. We're getting extra, sorry, it's hard to talk over the person back there.
Oh, she must hear you on the streaming maybe?
I don't know.
Sorry,
So keep going.
oh, sorry. Yeah, so it's to, basically that number could easily be tied to the increased rentals that we have to do.
Okay.
To keep kids, 50 kids and less to each room, and we have to spread these things out over many rooms.
Okay. And so you, compared to previous years, you guys have only been, you haven't been able to raise the normal amount that the senior all-nighter group?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
No, and our costs are in addition to, as of right now.
Okay. And so you guys don't have any idea what your total cost for the event is going to be?
I didn't know I was the only one that was going to be speaking to this, so no, I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Okay.
But I do, can I help? Because Darlene, Jody told me, the 10,000 is for the all-star jump carnival people to come in and spread all this stuff out. Then they're doing food for the kids, because they have 4 hours to entertain. Then they have a
Hypnotist
hypnotist
and
and the magician. I mean, all these are costs that I served on senior all-nighter 15, and it was a $40,000 party. I think was roughly what the whole package cost us. So I'm thinking that they're, because I was just like $7.
So Darlene, can you tell us how much you guys have raised so far?
No, that's the number I don't have, because nobody told me that I was reporting that. I thought Jody was signing on.
Oh, okay. So, so you guys don't know, you don't know how much you've raised so far, and you don't know what your total costs are going to be.
Here's the piece that I do know that
Okay.
would tie into the $2,000. Years before, usually the budget for the rentals is $7,500. Ours is $10,000.
Okay.
That's over that's $2,500 more than what any other year has had to pay for all the rentals.
Correct. Okay. Okay, so now I wanted Dave to talk, a little bit because, again, I just want to clarify again, because normally Booster Club doesn't ever, get involved in senior all-nighter pieces. And so, and neither does the school actually, but this is a different year even for the school.
It is. So
Yeah.
anyway, so just on record stuff, because last year we allocated 1,000 in Booster Club for those signs. And then we talked in this committee early, meaning Booster Club. One of the things that we knew we were going to do probably is set aside some money for seniors this year, because we knew that there was going to be a problem. So again, I think my opinion is 2,000 is a legitimate request. And I think it's, I know we're going to go with the school. The school actually kicked in some money, $1,000, just right off the top from ASB. And then the school's also supporting other costs that traditionally went to senior all-nighter, like custodians, security, all that kind of stuff. The school is actually absorbing that this year too, because again, it's just one of those years that everybody needs to work together to try to get this done. So
Well, and one thing that I'm
that would
impressed,
be my,
yeah, and I'm impressed with Senior All-Nighter because normally you guys are off-site, and you guys go off-site. Oh, you guys don't? They're always.
not anymore.
Oh, anymore. Okay. So, I mean, I think they are definitely trying to control their costs. And I do know, my understanding is, I thought you guys had a record kind of year to year what each group has done, because you guys have to transfer your books and the, you know, the financials. But
The two other committee officers are on vacation. So our treasurer and our president. So
that's kind of Murphy's Law, isn't it? Poor Darlene got thrown under the bus. So I say we try to make this easy for poor Darlene. But thank you, Darlene, for being such a good sport. I did tell Joby, I texted Joby and told her you need to make sure you have someone that can present all of the information, because it is a requirement when you are making an allocation request. So sorry about that. But Darlene, you're a good sport, and thanks so much for being able to give us the information that you did. So anything else?
Did you get what you needed, or?
I don't know that. I know people had questions, and so I don't know that that necessarily satisfies some of the questions that we had from different members, but it's the best that we can do with the information that you have access to, so don't sweat it. Okay, so with that being said,
Darlene, we're gonna hang up. Thank you.
See you on the flip side, which is Facebook.
Okay, so no other questions?
I don't think so, because yeah.
Or maybe on message.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think so, but thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, good job rallying everybody. Okay, so with that being said, we have 3 allocation requests. Now, Candy, from the budget, we actually have, if we were to approve everything as is, we actually have enough in our allocated budget for allocations for this school year. And one of the things that Joe, I appreciate that you're just trying to keep up on the jerseys. And I think actually it's really, I'm going to switch views so we can see everybody. I think it's really important, even in COVID, that we're not too lackadaisy in trying to continue to supply the teams with the things that they need to have, because they did use them. They used, football used them last year. Football used them this year. So it's not like you can say, oh, well, they didn't get a year's worth of use. So that is one thing I appreciate. And then Jason, I don't like to think that, whether it's kids not turning in their order forms, or it's that, not all of the kids can afford some of that warm gear for those games. So if we have Senior All-Nighter, I know that they didn't answer some of the questions that many of you had requested information on, because again, from Senior All-Nighter, we're not trying to bust your chops or anything, but this is an allocation request that is not normally ever considered by LC Booster Club, because they're very separate entities. And the only reason why we're looking at it this year is because of the circumstances of COVID. So we aren't trying to bust your chops about it, but we are overseeing these funds, and we just have to make sure we dot our I's, cross our T's. But with that being said, I just want everybody here, we may not have had our questions answered, some of the questions that you guys had answered, but I also want to keep in mind that these seniors are still students at Lewis and Clark High School. And so and they may not be in a club or an activity, but I would, if we have the funds and we're not, we have budgeted some allocation funds, I think we should consider donating something to the Senior All-Nighter. If you guys, your threshold is not comfortable doing the $2,000, we did $1,000 last year, we would be matching what the ASB did at the very least. But does anybody have any questions or comments? Nobody is saying anything on Facebook. So does anybody?
About all 3 of them?
Yes.
In general?
Yeah, with Joe and Jason, yours is pretty straightforward. It's really the only one that's then up for some debate, just because we didn't get some of the answers, would be the Senior All-Nighter allocation for $2,000 is what they asked for. So I would make a motion to approve the $2,000 for Senior All-Nighter. And then, also with the other requests, for the $6,000 for football and the $1,151.70 for slow pitch. Yeah, we can just, if anybody, I'm just giving you an opportunity.
I'm gonna make a motion. This is Chanda. I'm gonna make a motion to approve $6,000 for football, to approve
Sorry, switch screen.
500.
Hold on.
$1,551.70.
for slow pitch and $2,000 for the senior all-nighter.
Okay.
Motion
To go move forward with
I
those.
second.
Okay, so it has been moved and seconded. Oopsies, that's so bad. You know, you always have the fear that you're going to do it on social media, and then I do it, and the camera's on me. I'm just going to switch it over to Dave. Dave, there you go. You did it. Anyway, so Dave, it has been moved and seconded that we approve the allocations presented tonight as proposed, which was $6,000 for football, $1,551.70 for slow pitch, and $2,000 for senior all-nighter. All right, is all those in favor? Now, if this is the way it works in Facebook world and YouTube world, if you want to object or you want to vote yay, then you type it in the comment section. So I'm going to give it just a moment here while I get people. I have an agree for all three. So this is your opportunity. If you are watching, we have made a motion to approve all three requests.
Can I just make a request on the
Yes.
senior all-nighter?
Yes. Yes, hold on, I'm gonna.
I would just ask that the senior all-nighter officers or committee, that they report back to answer the questions that we've asked. Because I think they came unprepared today for all the circumstances, and I'm open, that happens.
Yeah.
But I would be comfortable approving the request once they submit the answers to the questions that we've asked.
And that's a good point. We recently, as a board, just approved a request to pamper our teachers at Lewis and Clark last week for Teacher Appreciation Week. And the way that it was handled for that was they gave us a maximum expected dollar amount that they felt like they would potentially need because of COVID, and everything had to be, there was very tight restriction or, designations for how we could host lunch, which cost 3 times more than what a traditional year would be for the staff that we have. So the way that they did it was they gave us here's how much we want, the maximum amount it could possibly be. We're still working to try and, get some things donated or get things like less expensive. And then then they submitted their final receipt for what their true costs were. And it ended up being under the budget that they had given us. And so we covered the check for the difference. And that felt good because, again, they were trying to be good stewards with the money. And so what I'm hearing from Candy is that she's fine with it. Looks like everybody's approving, but our only request would be, and as our financial officer, we just want to make sure that, we want to see some of those figures that we've asked for so that we can just make sure that we put them in our records. But again, this is an anomaly year. And so one of the concerns that I have had is that it's been brought to me as the Booster Club president several times that senior all-nighter parents felt like in the past, Booster Club had donated money to support senior all-nighter. And I just want to go on record and say that has never been anything that the Booster Club has done. So I don't know why that premise or why that thought was out there. So I don't know if the signs kind of threw people off, but this wouldn't be something for 2022, which I will be that senior all-nighter mom, and I'll make sure that I make note.
I just want to share that in our bylaws, it is specifically stated the LC all-nighter that we will assist with funding with upfront costs to a maximum of $1,000, and that shall be repaid by the senior all-nighter committee at the end of their event. So that's only involvement that we have on a yearly basis. So I'm going to make a note in the minutes that we're approving this senior all-nighter allocation request, not under the senior all-nighter sort of like sub-context of our bylaws, but rather the extraordinary items, because we do have a sort of the board will consider requests for funds for extraordinary items. And I think that falls more clearly under that than it does any senior all-nighter item.
So then I think that senior all-nighter folks, again, if you make more and if all of a sudden you have cash left over, then I'd just say the 2,000 kicks back to the Booster Club. So good faith agreement there.
Yeah. Again, we are not having any luck fundraising. We've been selling it, based off of Booster Club or our Spirit Gear sales. So anyway, good news for Joe and Jason. Woo, you got your money. So happy spending, because everyone is saying yay, yay, yay. So there we go.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, everybody.
Yeah, motion passes.
So, question about the senior all-nighter money, who does that check go to?
Oh.
It's gonna go to Lewis and Clark High School because we're putting their money, because Lewis and Clark is actually hosting it this year. So it's gonna go in the ASB fund.
And then the custodians will be sure to get paid.
Well, no, that, it's gonna be a whole different deal, but, so the senior all-nighter is gonna actually transfer money to the senior class account. ASB is gonna pay the bills for like the hypnotist, yeah, all those rentals, and then senior all-nighter is gonna pay the bills for like the food and those kind of things. So we've got that set up. So the whole check can go to LC, and then we'll allocate that. It actually can be allocated to the senior class is where the $2,000 is going. Okay.
Perfect. All right. All right. Now, Jason and Joe, you are always welcome to stay on and enjoy the rest of this riveting meeting. But if for some reason you cannot stay for the rest of this technology adventure, feel free to log off because next, I believe, is our concessions report and Spirit
Goodbye,
Hero
Joe.
Store.
Goodbye, Jason.
The athletic director is saying that you can leave. So, yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, you guys are
I
good
was
in
going to
the
stay until you do like your new business or something, because I had something I wanted to
Oh, see, they are wanting to stay. Okay, Joe, you are getting bonus points from the president because I always love to see these fresh faces
Are
and
those
an interest
bonus
in
points or
booster
allocation? Like,
Yeah.
I can't let Joe have the upper hand now, so I got to
I
match him.
got you, Jason.
I know. Yes. So next up is I'm going to have Josie is going to be covering. So this is my agenda. Josie is going to give you an update on our, concessions, which is nothing in our concession store, but you can talk about the Spirit Gear and then our vintage store.
Okay. So, hi, everybody. Concessions, we have no popcorn right now. So don't come for popcorn, but we have, look at,
Right in front of your face.
I have vintage film that we're going to get people to buy, this vintage film. Can that focus? It's from the 60s, mostly 60s and 70s of good old fashioned LC Sports. So I don't know if you can read that, but I'm going to type this up and then we're going to have it on our Square store and you can get vintage film from
That's
LC.
actually what I wanted to bring up.
Hey, you know what? I have to so I digress for a moment, but you know what I do have on my computer is I actually have pictures of some of the things. So I'm going to have
pictures of all of it because
So-
we don't have popcorn. So
correct. So what I'm going to do is Josie is going to keep talking, but while
you can look
she
at
is
our
talking,
photos.
while she's talking, I'm going to pull it up so that I can be showing you guys some of the vintage things that we have. So just keep talking.
Okay, so in our concession stand at the field house, it is full of all these vintage items that we took pictures of and we are getting descriptions written so we can sell these on our Square store. I think that there are some very unique vintage items that we're going to hold back for our auction and get top dollar. As if you recall, our booster auction had vintage doors an auction ago and they went for a lot of money. So we may have a Letterman's sweater that might go for a lot of money someday.
never
We
know.
never know. Or a piece of marble. You never know. Doors and marble. It's not working. I don't see any signs.
No, it's not.
And then to my understanding, Dave, we are going to prepare though our concession stand and fill it up for the fall? Or when will we know when we need to go shopping?
We won't shop till August.
August, if we get the go, like, we have no idea. So, so that is what concessions has been busy doing, is all the vintage items that we will have for sale on our Square store soonish.
I'm making progress now, everybody. So I just got a new computer and I can't still use it. So vintage store now.
Oh yeah, this is good. Here we go.
You want to see?
That would be
Wait,
drum
hold on.
major pants.
Hold on, I gotta
Pants.
actually share it so that people can actually
Can you see
it.
that? Oh, here I'm in the wrong
You
spot.
will be able to
Okay.
see it here in a moment. But I'm
Here we
telling
go.
you, you gotta be able to.
Well, it's kind of like, here, I can stand up there. Oh, there's a vintage tiger. That was last year's senior class, wasn't it?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, ladies.
John, didn't you
Hey,
have?
Joe. Can
Yeah,
you hear me?
yeah.
Go ahead, tell them about football films in particular and some
Well,
ideas
and
about
that's why I wanted to stay on. So I kind of like that, Josie's kind of going this way. I don't know. Apparently we're looking at some old band pants, but in my
I'm trying to find football stuff. I'm trying, Joe. You have to
No, it looks
understand.
good.
I'm trying to find the pictures of the football stuff. I was thinking I could scroll through, but
So tell them about your idea with football films. Maybe
yeah.
more
So
from the
like if
stuff.
what I'm holding in my hand right now actually is
hold
a thumb
on.
drive.
Now I got to stop sharing.
Yeah.
Hold on.
So,
Okay, now I can see it.
What were you holding?
So this is a thumb drive. I graduated in 1997. So what I have in my hand is all the football games of my senior year in the fall of 1996.
No way.
It started with a friend of mine who graduated a year ahead of me, randomly asked me if I'd have access to any film that when he played, and I said, well, heck, I don't know. Sure enough, I go to the Wizard of Oz, Dave, and I find where I find where the stuff is. It's all on old VHS tapes.
No.
There's a guy that lives on 18th and Jefferson who's been videotaping, or dubbing these over. So I end up with he makes them on DVDs. Like this says, Lewis and Clark Tigers. What is this one? Versus University, September 26, 1996. Then he also puts them on a thumb drive for you, which you can just put on. And then copy to as many thumb drives as you want. Anyhow, I guess, and I brought this up to Dave, I've already had, just from the classes of 1995, 96, and 97, probably about, I've had 3 friends that have spent over $1,000 just on getting their high school game footage digitized. Yeah. So Tom Engdahl, who runs a video production company, and he lives does it out of his house on 18th and Jefferson. He said he'd be willing to give about a 20 or 25% discount to Lewis and Clark if we ever chose to digitize this library and become sort of digital custodians of the history of all these Lewis and Clark sports that we have available to us. And I think it would be while it would be an expensive upfront endeavor, I think people will pay a lot of money to gifts, do it for themselves. And I mean, I think other schools will also be targeting, be looking at it because, if you don't have a resource or an archive from the school that you graduated from, you could at least probably find your game when you played Lewis and Clark. Yeah. So anyhow, I think it's an opportunity. I've been so impressed with your technology this evening. I think this is something that you guys are ready to tackle.
Yeah, Joe, I'm so glad you noticed how awesome we are with our technology. I'm gonna agree with you. So these are reels.
These are reels.
Yeah. So some of them are on reels. So we may have to talk to him because some of these
he's
are
already done. He did that. Those are 16 millimeter. What he actually asked me. So he graduated from Rogers in 1969. And I told Tom, I said, he asked me, he goes, Joe, if you find anything from when I was in high school, would you mind sharing it with me? And I brought it over to his house and he made copies of it. And then he sent it to all of his old classmates just as a gift.
Oh, so it is possible.
Oh, it's 100%
so you're telling me
possible.
there's a chance.
So
well,
and as the film for GSL.
Oh, right. Okay.
There is
a lot of the work is his work.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay. Now, Joe, I'm going to reinforce what you're saying.
There's a tremendous amount more VHS than there is reel to reel. They're just in a different location.
Sure. Okay. And as a woman who is married to a man that still likes to watch his highlights on video from when he was in high school and college, I can totally relate to the fact that if he had it on a thumb drive, he would be showing that everywhere because it's not very convenient for him to pull out his VHS tapes because, it's harder technology to find. But a thumb drive, now you're talking there, Joe, because, he still wants to see it. He's got some hip pain now, and I bet he would love to sit on the couch, rehab, and watch some of his football years. So that is brilliant.
So, Joe, what do you see if we wanted to go into this thing? What support do we need as the Booster Club
to get this going? And then how do we profit this thing in the big picture?
Are you asking that to me, Dave?
Yeah, to you.
Well, I mean, I think the first thing is to get a full manifest of all the archived material. Second, then, you know, you talk to Tom about what each, you know, game is going to cost. You know, if we get larger thumb drives, you can put entire seasons on there, which I know he's done. And then I think once you have it, it's like, how do we sell it?
Yeah.
You know, do you
This is what our alumni
maybe you,
contact info is.
yeah, I mean, maybe it's you sample it at the auction, and see, hey, how much, you know, the only problem with at the auction is you don't know what years people are going to want.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh, well, is there someone here that's from 1993? Well, we don't know that. But if you had that listed up on, you know, on a website that said, hey, we have the entire 1993 or under 1993 basketball. Here are the games that are available. Under 1993 football, you know, we have these games are all available, and, you know, a price next to it that say it's, you know, $40 or $50 a game. I think people are, I mean, I can just tell you, my friends have paid, you know, this much money for, easily.
Well, I'm with you. I think on the Square store, so we have a Square store, and you could do pre-orders for things like that, where you can make like just a, you know, like some sort of graphic for the different years, and, you know, like the sport, the year, and then it's the season or whatnot. And then maybe you just start it out with that. First, you know, we've been talking about getting an alumni association going, because, you know, we have a very old school with lots of alumni all over, I mean, the world. And it's interesting because I'm really trying hard to capture some of the reunion groups when they're trying to schedule a tour of Lewis and Clark, so that we can connect with them and at least get access to their contact list, because, you know, people tune into that when it's reunion year. So once we start getting some of those reunion years, like for instance, I have 2011 that's reaching out to us now, and then wanting us to help share some of the information that they have, and then they're willing to share their contact list so that we can stay in contact with those people for this type of thing. I'm not giving up. I still wanted to try. Now I'm going to share my screen now, because I found it. I found some of the football stuff, and so I'm going to be a weirdo for a second, because some of the stuff is actually very cool.
Theme of our auctions, like vintage LC. Just kind of have.
When's that?
Ta-da!
When's that?
There's a Letterman's jacket in
Wasn't
here. Wait,
there
I don't know what
100
this
year-
is.
What year is LC again? 100 years was
1912.
12. So 22 would be 110.
Anybody
No.
need an old telephone?
Yeah.
Everybody needs an old telephone.
You know, Josie,
Here you go. Here you go.
Those are the old intercoms.
Oh, those are the old intercoms. How about this baby? Yes, I'm telling you, this is very marketable. And then this is just the physical things that we actually had that we could take pictures of. We have then, yeah, now that's
And
amazing.
it's dirty still.
Oh,
We washed
That's
it.
our
and
current
it's
freshman jersey.
dirty. $100 each. Yeah.
oh, sorry, Joe, go ahead.
Oh, I said that was our current freshman jersey.
Well, it's gone now because we're getting new jerseys. So.
Okay, hey, Joe, you and I will connect with this a little
Yeah.
bit, but Joe and I both believe there's a demand, but the hard thing is we got to figure out
I profit.
how to sell it.
Yeah.
And that's when it gets a little above my technology brain, because we don't want to put out, say, $5,000 or $6,000 to get all these things done.
Yeah. So then my question is, the reels that I inventoried, aren't they all extras?
No.
Oh, so it is.
Those are the originals.
These are the masters,
So
I
you don't
believe.
have a catalog of them in a
We don't have
room
a
somewhere?
catalog, no. But we
Okay.
have.
So we
way
don't
more
want to
than-
sell these for $10.
Well, we have
and
more than what you
$10.
have right there.
So
Yeah.
Joe was saying, don't sell our reels yet, is what
Well,
I'm
but
hearing
the-
Joe say.
We could, yeah. we'll-
Digitize it.
Like the September 16th, 1966 football game against Shadle Park in LC. That is what we have.
That is what we have.
Once we sell it,
It's gone.
it's
So
gone. So we
here's
need
what
to
my
digitize
thinking
it.
is, Josie, is if we digitize it, we can sell it 100 times.
Yeah.
If
Let's
you
do it,
sell
Joe.
that canister, it's a
Nobody
one-time
gets
sale.
It's $10 versus $100.
Well, that's what, I didn't
Yeah.
know what we were selling them for.
That's why I think, you know, I mean, I
Yeah,
think we
we
have
started
responsibility
one.
as custodians of the history, but also as a
I have
pure
a gal
business,
from 16,
you know, entrepreneurial, I think we can make a ton of money.
72 of them.
I agree. I think we need to look at this because you're absolutely right. Like I said, if my husband had all of his glory games on a flash drive, we would go to that. We would take that to every party we ever go to.
Perfect,
I
okay.
mean, so we will not get rid of, we will not, he would be showing that at the fire station every night when he's on like the
So
track because he
Joe
wants people
Ireland,
to.
I can call him too.
Yeah, so
Joe
we're gonna
Ireland,
save, so what I'm hearing
Joe
is we're gonna hold all the reels and all the videos that we have so that we can figure out what we want to do and come up with a better game
We're
plan for
gonna
how we
deliver
would.
him to his garage,
She's
because
not,
that's what we need to get him out.
well, I need a list. I need a list of the games, the
Joe-
years.
or Joe Ireland, you're gonna get a box full of reels.
Well, we have way more than that.
There's a lot more in another
Let's
room.
organize, so then we can organize the next
We
one.
haven't even given you the VCRs. We have so they went
VHS.
from reel to VHS.
Yeah.
Josie, we have all the way up through like
Yeah.
the thousands.
Well, yeah, we have all the way up through technically, Joe, on Huddle now. If we download Huddle, we have
18, yeah.
2021.
Well, yeah,
And we
2000.
have all the way back to, look at this, 1949.
We have a
Well, it's
1949.
spotty.
Baseball game.
It's not complete.
Oh, it's not
But, you
complete.
know, No.
1949.
What is mostly complete is football from the 1980s all the way through to present day.
Yeah.
That's what's mostly.
I will tell you, so here's one thing I will tell you is, and this is a little dark. My oldest son passed away, and so I have all of our home videos, and they're on the old tapes that are all various sizes of a video recorder. And so my office wanted to try and get those digitized just to make sure that they're preserved. And it was expensive for just, and he was 4 when he passed away. And so, there's probably maybe like 20 tapes. And it was like $1,700 to have all of those converted over to being digital. Yeah. And so.
And I think we pre-sale, like my
Yeah.
father-in-law said, I'm 61. I want 61.
Yes.
Like, so, okay.
I think we pre-sale it.
For $500, we're gonna digitize all.
But
these
I think what I'm trying to say is to just sit there and take all the videos, have it automatically digitized would cost tens of thousands of dollars. So we have to be, so we have to do pre-sales of make an inventory so that people can go online and do a pre-sale and then have a connection where it's like, okay, so now we've got the money. We're going to go ahead and have the copies made. Is it something, Joe, where he would be able to do it like that? Or is it one of those things
Yeah.
where once we have it, okay.
And Tom's interested in it now. And here's another angle is so once you say someone buys like 1961, well, when we get that back from Tom, you copy it to another thumb drive. So now you have a master, you give that to who bought it. So when the next time someone wants to purchase that, we don't the only cost we're incurring is that of a thumb drive.
Yeah, that's so
Follow me?
true. Because
And then you
what
can,
my
over time, you can build a library.
Sure. Well, and you can get a big terabyte, storage thing. So we have, a master and whatnot.
So we don't have anything like that.
Yeah. So I think that's a great idea. Great
Yeah,
passive.
It's a great idea, and Joe's talked to me a lot about it. Joe, good job.
Joe,
It takes a lot of work.
Don't let Dave talk us out of this.
Work behind the scenes.
He's going to try and talk us out of
He's
it.
afraid it's going to be a lot of work for Dave.
I know.
Tell the concessions are open.
Yeah,
Then
that's
we'll have to find somebody else.
Yeah, this is our auction link. I'm going to make sure that I'm posting it on the thing so everybody has our auction link. That is a very long auction link, but it is there. Okay, so with that is Dave's athletic director report. Whoop, whoop. So I'm going to just pass it over here to Dave. In fact, I'll actually even put up your your actual banner that tells, there you go, Dave, look
Impressive.
special now.
Thank you.
Yes, you do.
All right. So anyway, since I've last saw you, we did complete a fall season. So we got all the fall sports done. We are currently completing a spring season, and we're overlapping the spring season with the winter season. So we are right now going to get all of the sports done this year in different ways, shapes, and forms. I think everybody who's done a sport has found out that it's been very difficult and it's been both frustrating and rewarding. So, you know, it hasn't been easy. So all those parents that are out there, thank you for hanging in with us. And all the coaches, thank you for doing it. And let's just hope that next year in September, we might be back to a little bit of normalcy. Don't know if we will or not. Parents, just so you're aware, we are going to start, we're advertising summer camps. So if your kids are in different types of summer camps, right now, we believe that we're a go with summer camps. But as everything in the COVID world, that could change quickly. But anyway, summer camps are there. So if you look at Family ID, that's where we're going to find different summer camps. And that information's just rolled out this morning. And most of the summer camps will start right at the end of school, or maybe a little bit about June 15th. But kind of around June 15th to June 20th, summer camps are going to start. And then we hope to roll them through, again, through like July. And so I encourage you to get your kids signed up for any summer camps that you'd like to do. Anybody got questions for me?
Not that I see. Well, but maybe we have questions. I see a little bubble.
I feel bummed that our boys soccer team can't go win state this year.
Our boys soccer team is very
They're
good.
amazing, and they can't go anywhere.
They
That
can't.
sucks.
They can't.
I feel so sad
So-
for them.
Yeah, our two teams that are really good right now is our boys tennis will probably win the whole quote GSL
Oh, really?
thing. Yeah, and boys soccer is going to win this time right now. Or well, they're not going to win. They could.
Yeah.
They're good.
They're
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Perfect. All right. Don't worry, Darlene. Kirsten is following this feed right now. So she says she's got it. So she will make sure that she clicks on some of the items so that we can feature it on our Booster Club page. So with that being said, can you pass me my piece of paper? Because I moved. So with that being said, old business is our next section, which we don't have any old business because we haven't been able to do any new or current business. So old business is hello, COVID, we're still here. And with the new business is hello, COVID, you're still here and we're still trying to do the best that we can. But we will be circling back with Joe and trying to get maybe some of that stuff done. And as soon as I get the descriptions on our vintage store stuff, I will be getting that stuff online. I have the pictures and they're all lovely and very well done. It's just that I don't know what some of those things are. Like I thought it was a telephone and apparently it's an intercom. So obviously you don't want me making up descriptions because they will be wrong. So are there any other general announcements from anyone?
We have one more. Sorry.
Oh, okay. We have one more general.
Sorry.
announcement.
So we did Spokane Public Schools and what was called the National Federation of High School Sports. We have a camera system in the gym that it will start with basketball this year. But anyway, you can watch the games online. You have to pay $10 for a monthly subscription, and then you can watch any games that are in our gym or in any other gyms. It will also work with wrestling, but generally with a single mat wrestling system, and we have a double mat wrestling system right now, so I'm not sure how well that'll work. But it's called, so anyway, if for all the winter sports that are coming up, so people know, it's going to be limited tickets like football was, 2 tickets per athlete. Okay, so 2 human beings can come in per athlete. And that's where we're at right now. If it changes, I'll let everybody know. But that's for both wrestling, gymnastics, and basketball. So that would be both the athletes, the basketball players, and the cheerleaders would each get like 2 tickets that they can distribute to who they want to.
Is that going to be
Okay.
live streamed like football where there's no sound? It's like mute.
This one, we pick up the gym sounds in our
That
gym.
would be good.
Yeah,
Because you know that the football there was nothing.
correct.
Like you were watching figures run on a field. It was
Yeah.
terrible.
Depends on
I wanted to
who's
throw my
feeding you
fingers.
stuff. Yeah,
Well, no, we got the one where the kid was like
Right.
recording it, where he was like coughing and.
Gonzaga Prep
That
was.
it. That
Yeah.
was it, prep, but that's only because they had an announcer. right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But ours
Everyone
will
else
pick
was
up our
just-
gym, ours will pick up the gym sounds.
Okay, so that will be good. So you can at least listen.
What is,
Yeah.
is it an app? What is it? Will
It,
you share it? Maybe I can.
yes, it's on the LC website right now. We
It
just
is.
posted it today.
Okay.
Under the basketball, you can find that link. We'll get that link out for everybody.
I have to just read, we got a private little goodbye from Jason, our slow pitch coach, and he said, "Love the idea of old sports footage. I know having those videos would have settled a ton of my friends' debates of the years."
That's funny.
So anyway, but he thanked us for that. So anyway, so that was very funny. I just had to make sure that it was too good to not share, so that it was on the recording. So with that, just remember that if you parent reps and any parents really, if you want to send us information about your LC Tiger and we can share it on our Facebook page, here's how you do it. You can send it, either tag us or send it to us at LC Boosters on Facebook. And then also, if you want to email us any information that you want us to share in our newsletter, or if you want us to share it on our Facebook page, you can always email us at lcbooster.info@gmail.com. And with that,
Do you want to say when our next meeting is? Approximately, you might not have an actual.
yes, I still have to make a
sorry,
motion.
okay.
Yeah, we still need to finalize our motion to approve our meeting. So I'm sorry, our motion to approve our February minute meeting. Okay, perfect. I got that from second. And I'm going to assume that there are nothing in the chat that we have seen. So we'll go ahead and approve our February minutes as read. And then tentatively, we will be having a meeting. So our schedule is generally the second Monday of every month, with the exception of we don't meet in the month of January. Generally, we don't have a January meeting because there's not much going on. So we will tentatively be posting.
July? Do we usually do July?
We don't. This is our last one. Yeah, we don't have a June meeting or July. Yeah.
Because I'm wondering about the fall auction, like how early would we want to get going?
Well, we should be actually going about planning it and getting sponsorships right now. If you were, as a professional fundraiser for a nonprofit here in Spokane, I would tell you that like already we would be needing to do that for an event in November.
With pretend you're not a professional.
Yeah, and even as a professional during COVID, I would tell you that we're still not planning stuff because it's very, very difficult. Yeah, so Kirsten was our chair. So what I will say is we will have an exec board get together, and we will have an exec board meeting for sure in probably August so that we can kind of get some things planned. We can go ahead and tentatively hold, just let the venue know that we would be having a venue or an event so that we can try and hold a date. But a lot of them are just not even open and taking money because they don't want to have to refund things. So it's just a very cumbersome. People won't even take my money for an event these days. So I know.
So tentatively, our next meeting would just be an exec board meeting in August, and then.
Yep. So an exec board meeting will happen in August. The regular Booster Club meeting will happen in September. Yep. So it'd be September 13th, 6:30, hopefully at Lewis and Clark in the new edition is what we're hoping for, because we would love to be able to see it. I have had a quick sneak peek when I was there picking up lunches, but that will be the goal, is that we will continue. Our goal will be to actually be in person in the new edition of LC, the, commons areas. What are you calling it? The Commons. Okay, I thought it was the Commons, but then I thought maybe I'm just making that up in my head. So we will be regular meeting in the Commons once it's safe to do so, but we will continue to live stream so that way people that are not comfortable going out, or it's just difficult to leave once you get home, because like Lord knows we've all been there, you can still catch these streamed via Facebook. And then if you were interested and you're watching and you want to be part of the fundraising committee, or you're interested in earning some choice dollars, then I would say come and be a part of it. Like, we're a fun crowd. So may not know a lot about technology, but we're fun. So with that, I guess we will go ahead and end our broadcast for today, and we'll see you guys in September.
Thank you.
Okay, I just sent all of